the appointments committee had been sitting, and we had John Alexander Kon, who is a Ashanti Region Minister designate, and he appeared before the appointments committee. Yeah. And he was asked a question concerning the Fulani issue. He seemed to have waded into it. He seemed to have made some controversial remarks that he can evoke an earlier court decision and try to implement it. That was a very bold thing to do.
Yeah.
He was not very diplomatic about it.
Yeah, I listened to him yesterday. I said, wow, that will be... But the point is, he needs to work with the other stakeholders, because this is a long-standing issue.
Yes.
You cannot deal with it overnight.
Is it not a delicate issue?
Very, 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 very. Because the point is, there are people who have been there for the past 40 to 30 years. They've given birth to people. So if you want to thrash out Fulani Herdsmen...
You mean there are people who are Fulanis?
But and now, today you cannot say they are Fulanis.
They've all become Ghanaians.
They are, by bet.
Yes.
By bet, they are.
Now, even by stay, if, let's say, they apply for citizenship, they could have applied for.
So if they are resident citizen, because the law says for tax purposes, if you live in a country for 6 months, and you're a resident citizen for tax purposes, but as a national 6 months, 1 year, and if you regularize it, become a citizen. So if you want to flash off Fulanis from Agogo, how can you identify them and say you were brought here, but this guy was given birth here? So you're going to create a whole lot of division, and you just further the conflict. So it's about time they engage all the stakeholders, and even these cattle are brought there by the Ghanaian people.
For them to be looked after by the headsmen who are Fulani.
Yes. So some of them are just there for employment. So they need to engage all stakeholders. The court has already ruled on this matter. So they have to apply the court judgment. If they have issues with it, they have to go back to the court. You cannot invoke the decision of the court. That's why you cannot do it. So he's a very nice gentleman, because he has been a deputy minister for at least about 4 years or so. He's now at social welfare. So I know he will do his best. And he's also a contestant for a Obuasi seat as a member of parliament.
As Obuasi West?
Obuasi West. So he has a lot to do. And then, in Ashanti region, the pocket of variance in Ashanti region, though Kofi Boakye is doing his best, but they're expecting more from him. So as a regional minister, I know the former regional minister and his deputy, there were some issues, so they were not cooperating enough to get things done. And looking at the demeanor of Akon, he's a type that he can unite almost everybody in the region, and then he can get things done. But the issue of Agogo, I know they need to engage a lot of people, including the chiefs, the sub-chiefs, because they have a stake in it. Those parcels of land, who gave those lands to them? The lands were given to them by these same chiefs. So if you want to drive them away, and the Lodia title holder has given a land to somebody to just maintain his cattle, he has paid something to the chief. You cannot just go overnight and just drive the person away. So you need to engage those people, the landlords, those who brought the cattle to the place. Let's get a bylaw, a bylaw to regulate the activities of these Fulani people. Those who are there by illegal means, that's why you can drive them away. But those who have been given birth, those who have registered, and those who have regularized their stay, you cannot just drive, because we have Ghanaians equally staying outside the country doing certain menial work. So if you do this, and then they also want to hit back, trying to also drive Ghanaians living outside Ghana, what will be the effect on us? So you cannot...
So you're saying it's all about circumspection, trying to make sure that we use dialogue,
we have
a lot more consensus building to get to the side.
Yeah.
Now, to the point that, well, at the end of the period when the Fulanis have been here, we've been having some of these reports in all the communities they've been having, from Afram Plains to the Ashanti area to the Volta region, etc. It means that there's something could be wrong with the way perhaps they pasteurize, and the way also we tend to relate with them in the communities.
Human beings, they are, or can I say they are business, or they are farmers? They are farmers, right? they have their interest. So always, to me, they want the interest to override the interest of others, because they use the cattle to graze the land. After that, they set the fire ablaze for the next season, so that the cattle can get something to feed on. Meaning there's no law regulating their activity. But if there are bylaws, you sit them down, you tell them these are the do's, these are the don'ts. If you violate it, these are the punishment for it. I think they will obey those laws. They have their leaders. You engage the Fulani. I overheard, that was last week, one of the Fulani leaders saying they are not into those activities, but the illegal ones, they are trying to tarnish their own image. So meaning they are divided into two, right, as we speak. So let's deal with the illegal ones and make sure those ones that we cannot drive away, we regulate their movement, so that the farmers will have their farm, they also keep their cattle. So it becomes a win-win situation. You cannot have your cattle and destroy my farm. That's my source of living. So if you want to destroy my farm, I will not sit aloof. So people will try to fight back by killing or by trying to hurt each other, which will not augur well for our national security.
We'll see how that goes. I don't know whether you've been following this very news about the breakdown or the closure of the ICU clinic in Kolebu.
Yeah.
It's been very much topical on Joy News. And it talks about a member of the health committee berating government for woefully failing to prioritize the health needs of the country. Early on, we had a minister who had come to say he was surprised about shortage of nurses of the clinic. But Dr. Chumnyama, you know him very well, says instead of retooling existing health institutions to cater for the health needs of the citizenry, the government was rather on a populist crusade of putting up new hospitals which would neither complete any on time or have the resources for both human and logistics to man those new hospitals. And we know that the ICU is for emergency cases, and let's say there are trauma or concussions and things like that during periods of accidents or collisions and things like that. But for those who have long-term problems, it's also a great difficulty. What do you make of this?
You know, when I read the story, it's something that we need to be worried about. But this is an emergency unit that deals with accident cases and trauma and all that. But you know, looking at the face of it, like Dr. Chumnyama said, if you don't have anything to compare with, you believe what he is saying. But the point is, still we need to maintain the existing facilities. But that does not put limitations on you to expand. Because you are talking about retooling the existing ones. Let's say in Accra here. What about those in the villages? Those in other districts who doesn't even have just a cheap compound? How would they also survive? How many of them can travel from the villages to Accra or Kumasi for medical care? So yes, we need to maintain the existing facilities. So we have the opportunity to also expand to other communities which they don't have health care. Others may need what they call cheap compound. Others may need a hospital or clinic, so that at least our health needs will be addressed. And government is doing a lot in this direction. So I think they have some few weeks or months to do the renovation work so that people can get back and then and work. Even looking at Kolebu as it was and today, there are a lot of changes. It wasn't as it was now, but still government need to do more to at least maintain the facility and then improve upon the modern technology that we should have at the center. So it's a worrying situation, but I know the minister and his team will do things quick to get it fixed so that at least we can access healthcare at the ICU center. So it's not like government is not trying to prioritize its needs and it's just going about commissioning or constructing a hospital where people don't need it. Look at what the hospital they are putting up at Tepa. Can you imagine, do you know where Tepa is located? In the Brunhafo region. And within
is that the same place we have Tepa, Botuasi and those places? No.
Tepa is Ashanti region, but proximity-wise, very close to Brunhafo region. Within that enclave, where you get a better medical care is in Sunyane. So mainly my constituency, Bia East. If you ask me to travel to Sunyane and travel to Tepa, I will choose Tepa because it's very closer to me. Mame Goso area. And that's where you go to Jaboso and you can get back to Asayenso and all that.
But there's no big referral hospital there?
None. We used to have, what do you call it, Asafo. That's a correct.
So your point is what? Those are some of the dynamics
for government,
for which government to take a decision.
Yes, is putting up new hospitals, new clinics. So it's not like government has lost track on what he is expected to do. Yet he's doing maintaining the old facilities, but we need to expand. We need to expand to other communities so that people will also benefit.
But that brings to mind the subject of management, because government is government. The ministry is a ministry, of course. They're supposed to have supervisory roles. But we have, let's say, Kolebu having his own board, a chief executive, and a certain direction. Then it means that we have problems with management.
That's the point. So if a member
because
of
the
parliament,
minister is there and the president is somewhere else. So if somebody,
so even with the minister, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's been there for just 6 or 8 months, but ultimately the responsibility rests on him. We have the technocrat, the technical people who are managing all these facilities. So if there are issues with it, if somebody was not proactive to take certain decisions, and if you want to put the blame at the doorsteps of government because you want to do politics, people will not take it serious. This is the problem we have in this country. If somebody does something wrong, instead of dealing with the person, we'll try to do politics, whether it's MPP, it's NDC, then the person who committed the crime is left off the hook. So that they think, oh, we have a cover, because by the end of the day, the blame will be shifted to either NDC or MPP. Now MPP is NDC in government. And so look at your administration, look at what people are doing, and we'll refer them back. Do you remember during your time, you did this, you did that? Then the real corporates are left. So these are the problems we have in this country. So the technical people who have been given the resources to manage state institutions. Look at this, even the ICU center that you're talking of. All the equipment are being procured by the taxpayers' money, right? If you go to assess it, you pay for it. But when it blows down, they fall on government again. For government to raise another loan to procure another equipment. Meanwhile, it's not for free. And the private hospitals are having same equipment. They're managing it, they're maintaining it, and when they get spoiled, they get back to their investment and replace it. So what is wrong with us? So we cannot be blaming government all the time. We have a role to play as a citizen, as people managing state institutions. But by the end of the day, we the politicians are giving them the opportunity to do all what they are doing. Because the people who are in charge, the people who are being paid with the taxpayers' money, they are supposed to do all this. Look at, let's take Ghana Water, for example. Government will raise a loan, procure equipment for Ghana Water to produce water. They will sell the water to us, we'll pay for the water. When the machine breaks down, then they go back to government to raise loan to buy or to replace the machine. So does it make sense?
Not at all.
Doesn't make sense. And you, the taxpayer, will overburden to pay the loan.
It's true.
And you also pay for the services rendered to you.
But you're saying this is as a result of what? As not paying the right tariffs, or?
Even let's put the right tariffs aside. Even the little that they are getting, are they managing it efficiently? Are we getting the better results from that? That's what government this time is saying. Then government will do on lending. You borrow on your own balance sheet. You go to the market, you raise the loan, so that you work and pay for the loan. Because you cannot put all those loans into the consolidated fund, into the government debt. But now they use money for the consolidated fund to pay for it. The inefficiency, who's going to pay for it? You and I. So, Doc, you should come again. Let's blame the system. Let's deal with those people who are in charge of managing the state resources. So that by the end of the day, if government has a role to play by way of injecting some capital, giving them some loan to procure certain items, then that will fall on government, for government to also make due with obligation to the institution. It's not like anything that happens in this country.
Well,
I need a clinic in my constituency. So you cannot tell me because of Kolebu, they should not build a clinic in my constituency. But still, we have to maintain the existing ones and expand for the vulnerable. So
you're saying that argument is really not in the best
No, you should put in the proper context so that people may appreciate the fact that, yes, we need to maintain the existing one.
But really, at Kolebu, the ICU has been shut down. So those are genuine concerns.
It is, but trying to say government doesn't have is not prioritizing or is not putting its priority right is where I have a problem. Because, like the minister said yesterday, they will do whatever it is to get ICU back to work. That's the good news for us. Only that it will not delay.
That's all right. Well, we're having on the line Derek Akosam, and earlier on we're telling you that J.B. Dankwai, who is a member of parliament for Ibuako North, has been killed in his home, and we got the reports the early part of the morning. And so far, the police have swooped into the house, trying to get necessary details for initial investigations to commence. And Derek Akosam, what's the latest you can tell us? Do we still have members of the MPP and the top leadership of parliament still there now?
Yes, some members of the family are still trooping in, members of parliament as well, especially those from the side of the New Patriotic Party. Manuel Chamanzine Jako came in not too long ago. Sami Uku is here. John Boydu as well. What it is now is that the police say they will announce to the public what exactly happened, what their investigations have revealed at 9 a.m. today at the premises of the Accra Region Command. And so that is the latest we have now. Family run.
As far as the investigations would go, have the police been able to let you in on the initial information they have picked as to which direction their suspicions would go?
Well, they are tight-lipped. They say they would only speak when they meet the press. As of now, they are not giving any individual any information.
What are you also picking from the ground, and by your observation and observation of those who are witnessing?
Well, what I have gathered is, I said earlier, the assailants or assailants, the security guard can't tell how many people, or whether it's just one person or people who went in there. When the incident happened, he was asleep. He only realized that the ladder had been moved close to the room of the late MP. And so he also went outside. He sounded the alarm. He went outside to call for help from one other security guard from the opposite house. And then he said he saw some eyes peep through the window, and then before he could stay dark, the person had bolted away through another exit behind the house. The police has prevented us from going there to see what exactly happened, or where that place leads to. What I'm also hearing is that that side of the neighborhood is bushy, and so the neighbors suspect that the assailants may have made his or her way or their way through that particular exit.
If you look at, or you tend to analyze the narrations, something just don't rhyme. For example, the security man said he was asleep or not at post at the time. Then secondly also, the people were able to come in and pick up the ladder, erect the ladder to the first floor of the building. At what time did they do all these? How many hours or minutes did it take them? Because it means that then the security man may have been really, really asleep.
Well, from what I can see, they went in there through the main gate. You could see that the barbed wires there had been tampered with. And so they went in through the main gate, and then they entered the house, picked the ladder, placed it there. The security man says he didn't see any of these happen. All he saw was the ladder up with the window leading to the late MP's room opened. He saw some eyes peek through, and then he realized the eyes had gone in, the person had vanished.
Well, very interesting there, though. But what is now the leadership of the MPP who are present there, if they've been able to interact with you, what are they saying about the current incident?
I managed to speak to the party chairman. He says he's sad about this because he was expecting that this was one seat the NPP wanted to retain in the forthcoming election. So the late MP says it's a blow to the party, one that they would, he says the man is one person they would miss for a very long time. It's also tied to what the police have told him, because he went in there to speak to the police. He was taken into the house, conducted around the house a little bit, but it's also tight-lipped. He says we should wait for the report from the police.
Well, we'll see how that goes. And Derek Akosam is our correspondent at the incident ground, the home of the late MP J.B. Dankwai, Member of Parliament for Ibuako North, who we can now authenticate was killed this very dawn by unknown assailant in his home close to East Legon here in Accra. This is how the whole incident, according to the information we're picking up, especially from Derek Ekosama, correspondent on the ground, may have taken place. Unknown assailant entered the house. They erected a ladder that they found on the compound towards the first floor, and then entered the room in which the Member of Parliament was sleeping at the time. They struggled with him, were able to stab him. They also went out through another exit door, and so ultimately the police had to come in following the initial alarm bells that had been sounded by his security man, who, according to the reports, also was asleep or was not available at the time that the unknown assailant may have made entry into the compound of the house. So we'll bring you a lot more as far as this is concerned. We know it's topical. You want to make a lot more comment on it, you're very much free to do so. Make sure you log on to our Facebook page, Join Us on TV. It has a link on our Twitter handle at Join Us on TV, and also a WhatsApp platform we have through the number 0560 800,000. And if you give us those comments, very much sure throughout the rest of the day and also the programming we have on the channel, we'll try as much as possible to read those comments to you. Thank you very much. As far as we are concerned on that, thanks for your patience on all this. But if we have to conclude on this, government has given the assurance, the minister has given the assurances, but for the lives of those tens of people who have to wait in turns to have surgery, because they don't have money to access such treatment elsewhere, it means that they have to be in dire straits throughout. That's not too much of saying that government empathizes. Yeah,
it's true. But my worry is they should have given information to the general public as to that decision, so that people who, the impatient people will know what is going to happen. Those who want to go to access those facilities, either they go to 37 or any other governance facility. But with a private facility, it will be much expensive to go into those. And those admitted already, I think they gave the indication that with them, they take care of them. So the newly patients, is that they have the issue. So they should have given more information as to where they can access those services, so that people will not go there and pretend out as if nothing is happening. It becomes so stranded. Maybe that's the only money on you. You took a taxi here and you'll be there. They will tell you, Charlie, you cannot attend to you. It's not the best. So they should give more information. And I know by the end of the week, something critical will be done. Because of our health, who knows? It can happen to any one of us. And government will not sleep on this thing for people to lose their lives. So I think they'll put in some emergency measures to deal with the situation.
Well, thank you very much. We've had in the studio Richard Champong, Member of Parliament for Bia East. And he's been sharing his time with us, discussing the most topical of the issues that we've been discussing this morning. Again, we have to run by you that just this dawn, we heard of the news of the demise of J.B. Dankwaidu, who is the Member of Parliament for Ibuakwa North. And according to the reports we're getting, especially from our correspondents on the ground, he may have been killed by unknown assailants who made forced entry into his home. They erected a ladder to the first floor where he was sleeping.
The security guy could not even hear anything of that sort.
You were surprised. You are surprised.
And it's a story building then?
Yes, it's a one-story building.
Now, how were they able to get into the window?
It still beats my imagination, because when you enter into it has a wired fence, electrical wired fence.
They tampered with it.
Well, they made entry, if it's through the main gate, and you can see that's the house. They made entry through the main gate. Now, they were able to have time to erect a ladder.
Yes. And certainly they'll be a burglar-proof in all the windows.
I mean,
so it's very sketchy. The information.
So there's no burglar proof. Yeah, there will be burglar proof.
Certainly. Because these days you cannot put up a house like this.
At least, and yet that now, we see a window now that room.
Yes. And you use what? Assault blade or what to cut it? I don't know. It might be a very serious planting.
Well, we can only speculate, but I think right now we just have to leave the speculation.
But the information is so sketchy, and then you cannot make any sense out of how.
Because the house looks fortified, so you keep wondering how this happened. But it really has happened. We'll
so
give
the media should sensitize the public as to the need for members to get their personal security. And it would, because these police officers, so they are being paid.
That's okay. I think you are now doing your sensitization. It's okay. We'll do that for you. Don't worry. Richard Echampo is a member of parliament for Bia East. I've been in the studio, and we'll try and advocate for them to be getting bodyguards. It's important. Or security, or police security
especially
personnel.
this election year. You come and sit at the studio, you say certain things, and somebody will be offended. For all you know, the person will train you to your house, and then...
yeah, I get your point.
Yeah.
We're taking a break. When we come back, Gladys Oredo will be here with a lot more entertainment. Do stay on.